Right now I'm going to add these leaves onto the Old Man OME suspension kit. Only because I want the extra heavy load springs, load carrying capacity, you know. What I didn't realize is that I have the medium weight springs. So to handle a full load, you got to add the extra leaf. Increase the spring rate, you know. So that's what I'm up to today now that I got the Bronco out of here and I definitely have plenty of time. Haven't heard nothing from work, so might as well get this done. So the first thing you gotta do on this is take the tires off. Yeah. These here are aftermarket bump stops, which I installed because I eventually want to put the longer shocks on here so it gets more downward travel, you know. Right now, these shocks I thought were a little small. They're a little short. They're just about the same size as the factory shocks, as full length, extended length it goes. I called ARB and they said, yeah, I could put some longer shocks, but I'd have to put bigger bump stops, number one, otherwise you'll destroy the shock. The shock's too long, the shock will start bottoming out before the suspension does. So that's number one thing you gotta do. Second thing is the brake lines aren't long enough, so when this thing extends all the way, you'll rip your brake lines out because they're too short. So that's another project, and right now I'm just kind of short on funds. I'd like to finish the Bronco first, so I can do without the longer shocks right now. Just for your comparison here, this is the factory bump stop, which actually goes on the leaf like that. Factory bump stop, the aftermarket bump stops, yeah. So for right now, that's as far as I want to lower it. So I want to work on one side at a time, and I don't want the axle moving around on me. So I'm going to leave a little pressure on one side, and that'll keep that end from flopping around. It's on a floor jack. It's on a jack stand. The axle's on a jack stand, keeping some tension on the leaf spring and the axle, so it won't move around on me. This one over here, I'm going to do first. This one here, I'll lower it off the spring so it separates. Alright, so there's the spring pack unbolted. I got the center bolt out. See that? This bottom piece fits into the hole on top of the axle right there. You know, so this centers up the axle on the spring. Shoot. So I need a longer one of these. And I went and got longer bolts. This head fits in that hole, so it might be alright. Damn. Well, they're going to say the longer spring. How come they don't say longer bolts? So this is what I got. I mean, that's what they had. Hardware wise. Yeah, see that right there? So when I put the leaf pack back together, the bolt head here is going to sit in that hole and center up the leaf. It is a tight fit. I guess that's a good thing. Now I got to add this leaf in here. And if you look, one side has a taper and one side has like a square end. It's the same on the truck. Just put them in to match up the ones that are on there. And I assume it goes like that because it doesn't come with no instructions. Now to put the bolt through. You gotta get all the holes to line up. That one's a tough one. And at this point, you need some kind of clamp. Wonder if I can stand them up. Roll it like fucking heavy. There you go. That's that. Now you might want to get somebody to give you a hand with this. These springs aren't light. Oh, fuck. I probably made it look too easy, but you can really smash your hands up on there for getting the wrong spot, and it's just awkward because you gotta kind of roll that spring on its side and then maneuver it up in there. And it's it can be a real pain. All right, I got the front and rear bolts in place. And I got to make sure that bolt holding the spring pack together is centered in the hole on the axle. Little tap. Looks good. You got to be real careful on how far you lower that axle because your brake lines aren't very long. Let's see here, we get close enough here. See the brake line right there? There's the right and the left. See that? That's really stretching them there. So that's the next project is longer brake lines. I've got to put the shocks on. The U-bolts are just long enough. Yeah. These are the old man EMU shocks that come with this. I'm happy with them. Like I said, the whole system works good. Reasonably priced, although they have a newer nitro shock now, the Sport Shock, which is I think double the price of these. They're like $100 a piece. I'd like to try those out, but for right now I don't have the money. We're just one thing at a time, you know. I'm spending more money than I'm making. But I've had people question shocks and all that stuff, talk about Ranchos. Ranchos are made by Monroe. Actually, they're made at Monroe. They use the Rancho design specs. I mean, they got the factory for it. So, same thing with these. These are Old Man Emu, made in Australia by Monroe. Monroe makes these 2 Old Man Emu specs. Yeah. I mean, we're talking a blown out factory that can shoot these out, you know, hundreds at a time. Well, there you go. I'm gonna polish up. Looks the same to me. It's supposed to go up 15 millimeters. 15, yeah. Supposed to give it a 15 millimeter increase in height and bring the spring rate up. So, shit. Might be up a little. Really can't tell right now. I didn't take any measurements, but that's what it is. That's all, folks.